everyone. My name is Jaretta, one of your co-hosts here at the Sis Please
And I'm
podcast.
Sada, the big sis, the other co host of the Sis Please podcast. So, what's going on, sis? What are we going to talk about today?
Excessive social media use. And to kick us off, do you know what was considered the first social media platform and what year was it founded?
Ooh, I love a good trivia question. I feel like this is a trick question, though. I'm going to say MySpace. But wait, was MySpace the social media site or a music site? I want to say Facebook. It's between Facebook and MySpace. I'm just going to say MySpace. Final answer.
Wrong.
Okay.
So it's actually called 6 Degrees.
No
I
one has
just looked
ever
this
heard
up.
of it or used it.
It was founded in wow. It was founded in 1997,
97?
and that
Oh,
yes,
wow.
97. I was shocked to see this too, but I think this is the first social media platform where you could upload a profile picture. Obviously it wasn't as big as like a MySpace, but I think MySpace came right after
So was it like for
Six
dating
Degrees.
or just finding friends? Like it was
I think it was just general finding friends. Again, it wasn't as developed as, say a MySpace. I remember MySpace well
you
because I
do?
think I was
I
in.
feel like the
I do.
MySpace was before your time. I feel like MySpace was more
No,
my
you keep
era.
you keep saying
Okay.
that. You keep saying that. MySpace. I remember having a MySpace in seventh grade. Like that's how popping it was with your top
With
eight and your
Tom,
friends and
Tom
all.
from MySpace, remember?
Tom was an automatic friend. Yeah, but I remember MySpace and I don't know if anybody is listening or watching, but I remember the MySpace song.
There was a song?
You remember? Yeah. See,
Okay.
again,
What
sis,
was
like you talking
okay,
about.
whatever. What was the song?
It was kind of after like my humps.
Okay.
I
Like the
can't
the Black
play it.
Eyed
I
Peas
can't.
song?
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it was just like my MySpace song. I don't know, but I remember the MySpace song pretty well, and I love MySpace as well because you could just always like curate your top eight. I was really interested in like social media design and stuff like that too. So I made my own banners on HTML.
Jeez.
I miss
Taking it all the
MySpace.
way
Yeah.
back.
Yes. Yes. So I know a thing or two about MySpace.
Cool.
Yeah. So a little bit about social media use. I know we have very different
Very different.
views and
Very different.
and
Uh-huh.
very different
Mhm.
views and opinions about that.
Yeah.
But I remember like our first episode, you were saying something along the lines of younger millennials and older are really addicted to social media. So I just wanted to hear from you a little bit, like, why do you think that
Well, I
is?
think it's because you grew up with it. I mean, we all did to a certain extent. I mean, we're only 8 years apart, so social media has been a part of our lives forever. But I feel like for younger millennials in particular, and then Gen Zers, really, it's like social media is the be all and end all. It's like is where they
Mm,
get their news from, is where they learn about new brands and products, it's where they keep track of family and friends, but mostly friends, like who's dating who broke up with who, and all that stuff. So I just feel like it's just so much a part of their lives, and it almost feels like there's no separation between the real world and the online world, even though a lot
mm,
of the social media world, what we see on social media is highly curated, and it's fugazi, it's fake. Like a lot of people are not putting the, their real lives out there. But for younger people, like when I say younger millennials, at this point they would be what, in their late 20s, mid to late 20s, and then Gen Zers, people who are in their 20s and
yeah.
teens. I feel like it's become the prism through which they view their lives, and that isn't always healthy. And obviously I don't
Yeah.
want to be too self-righteous about this because I use social media too, to varying degrees and in different ways, but I just think there's a huge difference from how I used Facebook in 2004 as a college student in Boston when it first launched, and how younger folks use it today. It's just really integrated into every single part of their lives in a way it wasn't for me when it first started.
Mm. So like kind of going back to you using Facebook in 2004,
Don't,
like
that was
how
low key shade the way you said that. But anyway, go ahead. Uh-huh.
yeah, like so how Like, how did you use it?
I mean, it was just this new thing, like Facebook in particular, because it was started at Harvard and I was an undergrad at BU, so just across the bridge. So it was just like this new cool thing to keep up with people and like people doing their profiles. And, you would check it but not obsessively. And also, there weren't the same features today, back then that there are now. There's so many more integrations, so many more ways to keep up with people and to make it addicting. That's
Mm,
what a lot of
yeah.
these social media sites specialize in. Their algorithms are designed to keep you on the site. So,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think obviously there's positives and negatives to social media. So some of the stuff that you talked about, the negatives, is like it is highly curated and we don't know people's lives at the end of the
mhm,
day. There's just a lot. Spending too much time on the platform,
yeah.
could lead to difficulty just knowing how to manage your own personal lives and like can kind of distract you from creating and building sustainable relationships in your own personal life. And I think too, like, there's not a lot of studies on social media, but
Mhm.
from what I hear, like, it does, spending too much time on the platform can create anxiety and depression, like
Social
that need to keep up with,
isolation.
yeah, keeping up with the Joneses, cyberbullying, which I'm going to talk about too. And just negative impact on sleep. I know sometimes for me, I have trouble sleeping sometimes, and like I'll wake up in the
And
middle of the
grab your
night.
phone.
Yeah. So I know that definitely impacts my sleep sometimes too. But I think like there's also good things as well. I think with the emergence of MySpace, but especially Facebook, how you can just create relationships with anybody in the world. Mainly I use it for friends,
Mhm.
family, and all that too, but oftentimes I follow people that I probably wouldn't have known otherwise due to social media and
Yeah,
really
we'll
like
get into that
respect
too.
their work. Yeah. So that's just kind of how I use it, but just curious again, like how do you use those social media platforms now?
Well, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but I use it like the same way you do to keep up with family and friends, but I'm not as active on it as you are. But just going back to all like the positives and negatives, most of the stuff you listed were actually negatives. Like, given all this, why do all of us still use social media? Like, why do you still use it?
Yeah, I use it as a way to keep connected with people. And again, like I said, um, yeah, using it as a way to keep connected with people that I know from my past, friends, family, and then again, just keeping current with news or I mean, I think out of my social media platforms that I use, I would say I use YouTube the most
Mhm.
because, everybody uses that term YouTube University. And I think depending on who you follow, like the algorithm will show you similar people based on who you follow. So I know for me, I can't say I've had a social media addiction or I feel like when I'm looking at people's feeds, I feel jealous or I feel like I have to keep up with the Joneses. Cause like you said, like people will show you what you want to see. So for example, somebody might be beautiful and going on these lavish trips, but they might be struggling in their marriage or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you obviously see they show you what you want to see, and I understand like people are complex and flawed, so I just make sure that I don't fit into that narrative of I got to keep up with the Joneses.
Mhm.
I think my posts again are just a reflection of who I am. I think I've definitely gotten better and just I think as I've gotten older I'm like I don't need people in my business like that. Most of my content that I post is related to social justice commentary, religious commentary, funny memes. I was not a fan of TikTok cuz I was just like what's the hype about TikTok? But then my friends got me on the platform. I don't post, but people post really funny, relatable stuff.
Wait, hold on.
And like, I,
So you're like you say you're on TikTok, right? But you're like 30. I feel like I'm too old to be on TikTok. I feel like I'm the auntie. like when I go on there. Like I'm
You like,
I'm
and I thought
invading
that
some
too.
teenager's party, and like that's
No,
some
it's
place
not just for
I
teenagers.
have no business being. That's how I feel. So when you're telling me, and we're both in our 30s, but you're telling me you're not as active, but you're on TikTok, you're looking at funny memes and stuff. I was just like, I don't feel like I belong here. I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah, and again, that's the misconception that I had too, because I'm like, oh, it's just for young kids.
Hmm.
But again, your feed will curate what you like. And if people are sending me content that's like an extension of me, but also I surround myself with friends who post like about like self-help and religion
Hmm.
and social commentary. Like once you receive that and you like that, like your feed will feed you that type of content. I think sometimes like there's a misconception, oh, it's just all for dancing, and it's like no, like there's like really there's honestly most of the people that I see on my For You page are older adults talking about all different types of things. So,
So not like the cuff it challenge or the all those
oh no,
all those things.
I don't even see that on my feed, honestly. So,
Oh, okay.
I would say open yourself to it. And like it can get addicting in that like it's not like a YouTube video where like it's like short, like it's less than a
So it
minute.
makes you think
So
you can
you
consume a lot of them.
exactly. I had a really huge hesitation on doing this very podcast because believe it or not,
Wait,
I'm
this
actually a
episode or the podcast in general?
just this podcast in general because I'll just kind of explain a little bit why doing this very podcast because even though like I feel like I have really important things to say and you have very
Hmm.
important things to say, I think oftentimes too I do like being a private person and I
Really?
like yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm a private person. I don't like people in my business.
Okay. I
Yeah,
would say the
surprising.
way you use social media, I would sort of disagree with that, but we'll we'll get into it later.
We'll get into that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I had a very huge hesitation doing this very podcast, but I think something that changed my mind is like I think we're doing something very different and I think it would be a net positive to the culture and the black women that or just women of marginalized identities that we hope to reach.
To me, I
And
don't
in
look
regard
at the podcast as social media per se, even though you're sharing content and your opinions. I feel like this is something we have more control over before we put it out there in the world, because you can have like Twitter fingers or and post
yeah,
something on Facebook and regret it, but it's too late to take it back because chances are someone has seen it. So I mean, are you saying like you were
yes.
hesitant with the podcast? Because I'm trying to figure out how that relates to social media, because you're not hesitant in my view to post things on social media. So it's sort of like, why would you be hesitant with the podcast when you're active on social media?
Yeah, I think sometimes people have could be nasty online and have,
Mhm.
not saying that I mean everybody has problematic views. So say once you put it out on the world, people might disagree and might be very hostile.
Mhm.
There's so many cases. Just a couple of weeks ago, this lawyer turned TikTok chef, I guess. His name's Chef
Interesting.
Way.
That's an interesting pivot. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I'm telling you just about
Yeah.
problematic tweets
Uh-huh.
and how your ass can get blasted and
Yeah.
you be done. So Chef Way, again, lawyer turned TikTok chef, somebody found his colorist ass tweets, put it all on social media, and it was terrible. Like he compared dark skinned women to trash.
Wow.
Like, yeah, dark skin, and it's bad when your own mama comments on your tweets from 2016 and was like, I don't condone this mess,
Mm.
essentially. So somebody blasted him. And I've seen a lot of social media posts of like people doxing him and being like, he should not be practicing. He should not be a lawyer anymore. I also think about
Mhm.
too, like in 2020 with Christian Cooper versus Amy Cooper. I
The
mean, what
dude
she was
who
doing
was
was
the
trifling.
dude who was bird watching in Central Park, and the woman said
Yes,
she was trying to attack him. He was trying to attack
exactly.
her and her dog or something. Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle. It's like I do feel like people should be called out, but I'm like, damn, how would I feel like if I was on the receiving end and I did something that was quote unquote problematic, and then not nigga, people coming from my job or people are calling my work and being like she shouldn't work here. I'm not saying that that couldn't happen to me, but And then I look at some of these micro influencers. I'm like, some of y'all really not smart, because if you have a Twitter account, especially, they can look up problematic things that you said on your Twitter, and then just all of a sudden, if they don't like you, they posting it up. So I anybody listening or watching this right now, delete your tweets. Start over. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
Don't
the
do
thing
it
is,
to
even when
yourself.
you delete them, I've seen people dig up other folks' deleted tweets. I don't know what kind of software or technology they're using, but dig it up and like, look at what this person said in 2014. It's like, God damn, you
Yeah,
have to
it's like no one's
you
safe.
have to be really careful, with what you post, and that's why I'm not as active on social media as you are, or not as visibly active. Let me say it that way. So I have an
Yeah,
apparent lack of social media activity, but I actually go on Facebook and LinkedIn, and to some degree Instagram nearly every day. Like LinkedIn for my business,
yeah,
Facebook for my personal interests. But a lot of my activity does not take place within the feed. It's within private groups.
mm,
Like I'm in different like personal finance, women focused groups. I'm in a lot of health and wellness and fitness groups where it's quote unquote private, but that
yeah,
won't stop anyone if you post something from like taking a screen grab and sending it. But I don't, I'm careful with what I post, but I like being
yeah,
because I'm curating my own experience. I'm sort of like in my own echo chamber, which you could argue is good or bad. But
yeah,
and I still use it to keep up with people, but I feel like there are certain archetypes or characters on social media, Facebook especially, but they're all required to make that ecosystem work. Like there's an attention
yeah,
seeker, someone who's constantly posting and looking for validation in the comments. There's the know-it-all who's like posting their political views, whether that's on the right, left, or middle, or their opinions about different hot topics. They always have an opinion to share. Then there's the toxicity queen who's like just negative Debbie Downer, always it's just just negative
yeah.
stuff. And then there's people, the folks who I call the catastrophizers. Like there's always impending disaster, whether it's in their life or in the world, and it's like they need to
Sounds like mom.
talk about it and leave our mother alone. She gonna come for you when she hears this. So if I'm any archetype, I would say I'm more of a lurker. Well, that sounds weird. I'm more of like a casual observer. Like I
Yeah,
go on it. I know what's happening. I'm keeping track of family and friends, but I have to do that. I have to get past the feed a bit to get into the
yeah.
private groups that I'm in, and I don't post often. So and it's funny because you guys, my own family, will clown me over this. I'll have my husband, he'll come to me like when I post, the rare occasions I post something, he'll come and show my phone, talk about, Facebook will say, "Oh, Sada posted something for the first time in a while." Like Sada posted
Yeah.
for the first time in a while. He'll show me. He's like, "Oh, so you posted something? Let's see." Like just clowning me. And it's funny because like our anniversary, his birthday, I don't post anything on social media. And that's not a knock to anyone who does. But my philosophy
Yeah,
is I'm sitting right next to you in the house. Why do I need to say happy birthday to you on social media when I live with you? It just
yeah,
so
that's
I
true.
don't do that. That's just my personal thing. And then
Yeah,
even
no,
our mom, who just joined Facebook like 2 seconds ago, wants to clown
I made her
me.
account.
Yeah, you made thanks for doing, and now we're all in trouble. So she clowned me because she went on vacation to the Bahamas recently, and she was posting pictures like every day. Like our friends would be texting us, "Your mom's living her best life," and she deserves it. She works hard. But when she got back, she was like, "Oh, did you see the pictures I posted?" I'm like, "Yeah, I saw them." And she was like, "But you didn't comment on any of them." I was like, "I liked them." She was like, "But you didn't comment." I'm like,
It's like I like them
like
though. That's a
that's
that's
enough.
engagement.
Yeah, like that's enough. Like chill out. She's like, she was trying to roast me for not commenting on her post. Like that's the standard now for our relationship. Like I didn't comment on your Facebook post, and then even
She got addicted.
yeah, and then even you'll come to me, we'll be talking on the phone or texting, you'll be like asking me, "Did I see this thing on social media? Or did you hear this person, Kevin Samuels, or who's old dude who would cheat on his wife?" Then they did that YouTube video. She was in her bonnet, her silk bonnet, sitting next to,
Derek Jackson,
yeah, like,
Jackson, he's divorced now, or he's getting a
oh wow.
divorce.
Can't say that's surprising considering the scandal, but anyway.
Yeah,
But you'd be like, "Oh, Kevin Samuels did did this, Derek Jackson did this. I'm like, who are these people and why should I know them? Like, they're not like Denzel Washington or Idris Elba or something. Like, why do
Dang, don't clown him
no,
like that.
no, because
No, but
you come to me like I'm supposed to know who these people are, like they Oprah or Denzel or something. It's like I don't know who these social media influencer
but
or
you
micro
follow
influencer.
entertainers. Yeah, you follow entertainers like
Yeah,
what's that guy's
I'll
name? Funky Godiva. He's always talking about people that are
doesn't
not
he have
like A-list
like
celebrities.
400,000 like followers on YouTube or something? Yeah, but I don't follow him all the time. I think he's entertaining and stuff, but like like yeah, I'll watch a Coach Stormy video where she's talking about low vibration plates, but that's not my norm. Like
Mm,
you come to
yeah.
me like I'm supposed to know who these people are and I'm like some granny for not knowing who they are. It's like, are you serious?
Yeah, I mean that's the divide, but again, like you probably use social media in a different way whereas with
Yeah.
me, like I don't really follow these people, but I'm also on Twitter or you follow the Shade Room or these like entertaining pages on
Yeah.
Instagram. So it kind of just comes up in your feed. It's not like you want to know, but you'll see like a
I
little
feel like
sound
you
bite or a little
always
clip.
know.
Yeah, cuz I'm like again, the Shade Room and all these other entertainment pages, I don't lurk on them, but because they're so popular and they have millions of followers, you can't help when you're scrolling on Instagram and being like, "Who's this?
Yeah.
Let me he said something crazy.
Yeah.
Let me go check his content. Oh, this man really trifling." So,
And yeah,
um,
and let me
yeah,
just say something. And although I'm not very active in feed, that doesn't stop some people from trying to drag me into stuff on social media that has nothing to do with
like
me.
who?
Like I feel like there's tagging etiquette on these platforms, especially Facebook, and people be committing sometimes random acts of tagging. That's what I call it.
I can't
And
stand
that
it.
happened to me like a couple of years ago or a few years ago. So we have this older family friend that passed away. And one of our relatives decided to post on Facebook about it and tag all of us like in the post. But so then I get this random text from my really good friend saying, "Oh, Sada, did your grandmother die? I'm so sorry." I'm like, I was so confused because I hadn't been on Facebook. I didn't see this. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just check Facebook. Maybe that's where she's getting the information from. And then I go and I'm tagged in this post, and our relative who tagged all of us, and she's like, celebrating this woman's life, which is fine, but it was presented as if this woman was our grandmother.
Grandma.
If she had
Yeah.
like, I can guarantee you she hadn't spoken or seen this woman like over a decade. But the way it was presented was like we had lost this matriarch of our family, and that's not the case. It was a family friend, but it was so much to the point that my friend thought this was my grandmother. It was just like,
Yeah, they be doing the
no,
most.
like
Like,
don't tag me. You want to do that, you want to post that kind of stuff, just leave. I felt like, you ever seen that Nene Leaks meme, like, why am I in it? That's what I felt like.
yeah,
I'm like, why am I in it? Like, where did
like
this
leave
come
me
from,
alone. Yeah, one of our mom, like my mom or our mom rather, and I don't know, the downside about Facebook because I feel like that's where all the older aunties kind of curate and
Yeah, they're
moms and stuff.
all over. That's their platform now. It doesn't belong to
That's
us.
their not us. But like you said, I don't know who this person was. I never met him. I mean, he lived in Liberia, but every post he was tagging mommy in the post, and I was so
Did
pissed.
she say
And I
anything?
was just she was like, I don't know what this is. And she don't know how to do it. So I made sure purposely, this was a couple of months ago. I went on her account and I think set up a feature where you have to ask her for permission to be tagged on the
I need
feed.
to do that. Actually, I think I did
Yeah.
that after this tagging incident. So
Cause it's just like, she could review it but she don't know how to accept it. So I'm just like
it'll
works out for me. But
it'll stay
yeah,
off her
and
page.
it's just nonsense too. Like it's not even related to her. That's another thing. If it's not related to her, like if it's not a photo or
Yeah.
if
Why are
it's
you
you're not
tagging?
talking about her, what sense does it make? And it's just like, all right, like you said with the etiquette, like that family member that was doing the most, make a Facebook page about your business and post all that crap in there. Don't,
Yeah, and
it's like,
also
do you not know how to tag?
don't post pictures of other people's kids without their permission. I've had that happen a
Mm.
couple times, and it wasn't malicious, but it's like, don't ask the parents for permission first before you post pictures of their kids, please. There are a
Yeah.
lot of
No, I
crazy
agree.
people on online, and maybe because I work in marketing, technology marketing specifically. It's one of the areas I cover. So I cover cybersecurity and read a lot about cybersecurity all the time. So I know how these people are lurking on social media, gathering your information, even the social media platforms themselves. Like yeah, it's free to use these platforms, but you're paying them with your data, and they're using that to
Yeah.
target you. And that bad actors and cyber criminals are using that to track you, to try to get into your financial accounts, or some people locally trying to rob you and all this stuff. So I'm just very cautious about social media for that reason. Call me paranoid, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. And
Yeah.
it's funny
Yeah.
because our different approaches to social media have actually led to some conflicts between us. Like I did
Many.
okay, like your online behavior has led to offline arguments, whether they were initiated by me or not.
Yes, I make sure I have my receipts for this because this is not an over evolving thing. I remember our first, I wouldn't even say argument, but comment, and I went on Facebook. I'm gonna read it right now. This
Oh,
was
you
July.
literally got receipts, because I vaguely remember these
Oh, I
arguments,
remember.
but you went and got literal,
Yes,
excuse
yes,
me, receipts for us to have this conversation. So go off then.
yes. July 1st, 2012. This is when I was in
Hmm.
college. I think I was a sophomore in college. And I think often the arguments that we have is just like what I shouldn't and should not post.
Okay.
Again, I'm someone who, again, what I post is an extension of who I am. So I'm someone, like Sada says, I'm a social justice warrior. I think this particular post that she commented about was about white privilege. 2012. This is before Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff. So you said,
I don't
Jaretta, you
remember
need to
this
be very.
argument. The one I was talking about was maybe like 3, 4 years ago, but go ahead.
Yeah, this wasn't even an argument. This was
Okay.
just something that you posted or told me
Uh
about.
huh.
Jaretta, you need to be very careful when posting these kinds of videos online, especially when you're going to look for a job. You don't want an employer, especially a white employer, seeing this and getting the wrong idea. Please, please be more prudent about the kinds of things you post online for everyone to see. Which, in my head, I'm like, okay, I guess I see where she's coming from. This was in 2012, but I'm like, the content of the post wasn't inflammatory. I talk about white privilege in the education space, and so
Hmm.
do my colleagues and stuff like that.
Okay.
In my head, I'm like, what is the problem? And also, I'm like, well, I wouldn't want to work for them anyway.
Okay.
You know?
Fair enough. But then you posted this other thing. This was like the recent one I don't remember. I want to say it was like 2019 or so. And it was like an article, and it was some chick, I think it was from Huffington Post, and it was about, she was going to this yoga studio with mostly white women. The thing that she was talking about, the headline itself could come off as,
It was like, why white people in the way or
yeah,
something
why
like
white
that.
women
Yeah.
take up all this space. And the headline to me came off as problematic, and you posted this, and I texted you and said something about it, and you were like, well, if the person, I think at the time you were looking for a job or something, and you're like, well, if the person, a recruiter or whatever, clicked the article and read it, they would know blah blah blah. I'm like, one, a recruiter is not going to take the time to read a long ass 1,000, 1,200 word article, whatever it is, about that someone posted, someone's random musings or opinion column on the Huffington Post. They're just going to see a headline, think it's problematic, and be like, you know what, I'm going to move on to the next candidate. And you were basically like, well, if they read the post, like no one has time to do that in 2019
That's
or
fine.
2022. So you need to be mindful, because if that doesn't represent you, that's this one person's views, and you're posting that without context or whatever. It just, to me, it wasn't a good look, and we got into an argument about that. You left my house. Well, no, I texted you, and then there was this other. I'm conflating that. There was this other argument we
No
had.
worry. I remember
Okay,
this. I
whatever.
remember this well. So I'm gonna
There was
talk
another
about my
argument
side.
we had about your social media posts, and you slammed. We This was in
I
person.
think it was that conversation.
Okay,
It
yeah,
was that
maybe it
same
was.
one.
I was confused whether it was a text or in person. And you left my house, slammed the door, and just stormed out. I was like, really? Is it that serious? And then you were just
Okay,
wanted to
so
argue with me afterwards via text message. And it was just like, you know what? I'm done talking about this with you. You grow, you do what you want to do and bear the consequences or not, whatever it is. But I'm just
exactly.
yeah, but like you've been a director, you've been a hiring manager before. If you went on a candidate's Facebook page and you saw some things that you maybe even didn't agree with or didn't think would be a good cultural fit for your organization, you wouldn't you would just see the headline. You wouldn't go and click on and read through. You'd be like, next candidate, next person, please. So
You
yeah.
know, like what's for personal is for personal. And I think with that same conversation now, you got to see where I was coming from because I remembered like I think you texted me because I think there was like a little emergency and I was like babysitting
Hmm.
my nephew and stuff like that. And then like you come in and you were just like, well, what did I tell you about that post? I'm automatically on the
Hmm.
defensive, like, because it's like, okay, I'm helping my sister out and she's talking about something so like trivial. And it's just like at this point, like I'm already disassociating. Something that I should have done looking back at it was just go upstairs and just say bye to you and my nephew. I remember saying bye to you both, but I mean, looking back, I should have just went upstairs. I'm leaving. I don't remember slamming the door.
You
Like,
did.
because I'm not petty, like, okay,
You
I
did. You
apologize.
did.
I apologize. But also, too, like, you call me as I'm leaving and you started blasting me and you were like, you make everything worse. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
because that
cool.
you came
I'm like, okay,
okay.
all right, we
No,
ain't got to
because
talk then.
no,
Like,
because that time, because my just some first and background, my husband was in the hospital with pneumonia, and you came to help out with our son, your nephew, who was like what, a year old at the time.
yeah, I think it was about a
So
year old.
we had this tiff, and you left, you stormed out. I was already like not in a good headspace, and granted, maybe my delivery was off, the way I approached you could have been better, but the way you just left, I thought was not right. We could have,
Yeah,
I felt
and
like
looking
we could
back
have
at it,
had
I should have
we're
apologized.
adults, we could have a one-to-one conversation. Like, I felt like that was very, like, tantrum like behavior, like to just
Okay.
leave
Yeah, and I
and storm off and literally slam the door, because I was upstairs, I heard the door slam, I was like, god damn, like, she really just left like that because I said something about what you posted on social media, and then we didn't talk for a
I
few days.
really don't. No, we didn't talk for a month. Like we didn't talk
Okay,
for a month
whatever it
because
was.
yeah, again, I can accept, like I said, I should have just went upstairs
Hmm.
and just hashed it out and just called it a day because it was like you said, it was just foolish at the end of the day. I don't remember storming out. I remember leaving
Hmm.
without like going upstairs. I'll acknowledge that and I apologize for that. But like other than that, I'm just like, to me, and this is something like that's often frustrating, that I've seen a rift in our relationship because it's just like I think when you have a sister who's 8 years older,
Hmm.
can't do anything wrong in their mom's eyes, then all of a
Okay,
sudden, like,
now you get
you
into
know,
another discussion, but
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, like, and then everything that you do, everything that you say is always a problem. How I need to be doing this, how I should be doing this. And it's just sometimes it comes off really critical.
Yeah.
And it's just like sometimes I'm like, well, fuck it.
Well, I
Like,
can see that, but it's also frustrating for me as the older sister, because I feel like I don't give you advice unless you ask for it most of the time. But when I see something, I have to say something. You know that saying, see something, say something. They're talking about
and it's
terrorism.
like, why you gotta say
But
something? Like,
because
you know what
I
I mean?
want to prevent you from making mistakes that maybe I've made, or that would prevent you from getting to where you need to be. Because who knows if that maybe prevented you from getting a specific job that you really wanted, because they saw your
Whatever's
social
meant to be is meant to
because they
be.
saw your social media post and like, oh, she's problematic, and the hiring manager, or the person you're going to report to, the senior director, whoever, is a white woman, you posting stuff about white women in yoga class taking up space. It's like, I feel like you have to be smart about certain things, not just you, but just people in general. Like, you posted too, this was maybe last year, about how you were tired working in this specific
Nothing wrong with it.
industry, while you're still working in said industry and looking for a job in said industry. Like, make it make sense. I don't
Nothing,
understand
and
how you gonna say you tired of doing this particular job while you still in the job. I'm sorry, that made
now,
no sense to me. Oh, please, no,
listen,
explain. Please explain that one.
yeah,
Explain that
to
one.
me, again, it was just a moment of I'm feeling tired and burnt out, 50 people like the post. So, and
So
again,
that you see, this is what I'm talking about. People posting for validation. So 50 people like the post. So obviously you were in the right there. You like my
not that I was in the right, but this is just something that I'm feeling.
Okay,
And
but
if
then
other
why do
people
you
are
need to
resonating with it,
post
then
it? Why do you need to post it on social media to share? But feel it with yourself. Why you got to feel it with 50
that's
other
fine.
people?
Like, and again, it was in a closed space. Like, it wasn't like I was on Twitter talking,
What do you mean it was a
again.
closed space? Facebook is not a closed space.
But if I have my friends list and I know that it's private and I have settings where people don't see my stuff, like, I don't see what the problem
Okay.
is.
Well,
Now, it
I've
would,
read
to
things
me,
online where you could have all these privacy settings, but people can still see certain things. And that also doesn't prevent someone from taking a screen grab of what you posted and sending it along. And then before you know what you dealing with, like someone who thinks your behavior is problematic, and that's preventing you from getting your foot in the door somewhere or making a connection that you could have made, you know?
yeah, I mean, and again, I think I interviewed pretty well. And I think, again, I said I was tired and I burnt out. We just clearly viewed things differently. It would be different if I was like, F this job, F my employer. This is certain things that happen. That's excessive.
Yeah, there's
But if
degrees
I'm
and levels to this, but still, that doesn't
exactly,
make posting that you're tired of working in a specific industry while you're still employed in that industry make sense to me, at least.
yeah, and that's fine. Like, we can agree to disagree. Because my thing too is just like, and like you said, like, I'm 30 years old. Like, I'm not if I had a little sister who had the same similar age gap, let them do what they want to
You
do. They
say
gonna
that now,
learn.
but if you had a little sister,
I wouldn't. I
you
mean,
would
again,
I think you would do the same thing.
probably not.
Okay.
Like, again, like, and it just depends on the relationship that I have with them. Like, if I have a yeah, it just depends on the relationship that I have with them. And like, I can advise, but if, you know, it is what it is. Maybe I'm like, people gonna make mistakes and do what they
Yeah,
do.
that's
Like,
true, but it's
I'm not gonna infiltrate in people's lives. Like,
okay.
again, I said it would be one thing if I was like, F my employer, F this, like, this is what happened. I mean, that's
Okay, so point
unnecessary.
taken. I should just let you make your mistakes, get out of the way, and shut my
Yeah.
mouth. Is basically what you're saying.
I mean, you could just gotta chill a little bit, sis. Like, it's
Okay,
okay.
okay,
Like,
but now looking back on those arguments, do you see at all where I was coming from? Do you think there's even a kernel of truth to some of the things I was saying, or no?
I would say so, but again, like, it's just letting your little sister just be
Hard
who they
headed.
want to be. That's fine. Be
Letting her
who
be
they
hard
want to
headed.
be.
Okay.
That's fine. Be who they want to be. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I think similar, again, I'm not a parent, but you just got to let them just trust that your child is doing what they got to do. And if they make mistakes, fine.
Okay.
And not everybody's in the straight and narrow. Maybe I just have a lax type of attitude with that,
Okay.
but people are just going to figure it out. I know for me personally, there are just certain things I don't do on social media. Like, I don't be sometimes I see it even with our family and friends, people like going on Twitter wars or Facebook
Or it's
wars
trying
or
or
talking
calling
about,
out their
I
cheating
got your man.
husbands and stuff.
Yeah, like, it's
It's too
entertaining
much.
to watch on the back end,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, that's not me. I might laugh and
Mm-hmm.
be like, "Oh, sis, look at this foolishness." But at
No.
the end of the
Some
day,
of it
people
do be
gonna do
funny
whatever
though.
they gotta do.
Some of it do
Yeah,
be funny.
and I think too, like, finding outlets to kind of explore certain things. So for me, like, I have a therapist. I'm not afraid to share that. So if there are certain things
Mm-hmm.
that I'm struggling with, I go to my therapist about. That I don't feel like I need to post about. But then again, too, I make sure that I follow people who get me, and also too, I do save some certain stuff to private Facebook chats
Mm-hmm.
or Instagram chats, or I just share things in private because, like you said, I'm a private person. Surprised, maybe not to your degree, but
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't like people in my business because
Okay. We
so
can
I guess we can
we can to
agree to
disagree on
disagree
that.
to
Yes.
I can we can agree to disagree, but to be honest, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. It's not like from a malicious place. I think
No.
sometimes,
It's out of
you can
care and
be,
concern.
yes. But sometimes it's just like, sis, just chill out. Like, it's okay. Like, and now I make sure even more, like, not that I posted anything on Facebook recently, because
I
most
gotta
of our
go
run-ins
check.
have been on
I
Facebook.
gotta go check.
I haven't.
Hmm.
But now that I do that, it's like now if I have a certain post, I block certain family members
Who,
from
like
seeing
me? Are
certain
you
posts.
blocking me?
I don't block you, but
Wait, hold
I
on now.
block you from seeing.
Are you blocking me?
I
Okay.
don't block you. You're still my friend, but I may block you from seeing certain
Oh,
posts.
really?
Now this is not
Really? This is
this
this
is
is
not this is
information to me. I did not know you were doing this. I need you after
not
this, after we finish recording this, I need you to unblock me, okay?
I'm not blocking you. I don't think
No,
you
okay,
understand.
no, I do understand. I'm saying next, just let me see what you're posting.
I
What?
don't have anything to post.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
why are
saying
you
in the
blocking
future
me from certain? See, that's the thing. Now, if it wasn't problematic, why are you blocking me from seeing
because
certain
I don't
posts?
want to have these arguments with you. That's why.
Okay.
I mean, it's not recent. I haven't posted
So,
anything
but you're
recent. I can show
saying
you
in
my
like the
feed.
last year, you've blocked me from seeing certain posts that you post.
Not that I know. Maybe the past 5 years, maybe certain posts, but
Okay. Okay. So that's
you know,
how we playing it. That's how we doing it.
because it's just like when you know better, you do better. So it's just like if
Why
you know certain posts,
don't you just do better and not post problematic shit on Facebook? instead
I
of
don't think it's problematic.
instead of blocking me, why don't you just stop posting problematic stuff? I think that would be a solution here, and not blocking me for seeing something and then saying something to you. But I digress.
Yeah, no, I mean it hasn't been recent, but again, I think like again, you come from care and concern. I understand that, and I think yeah, I think where I was when I was 20 at Mount Holyoke,
Hmm.
learning about certain stuff is different to me now. Like being 30 years old, and it's just like not everything is meant for the feed. Go to your therapist, go to your friends, and that's that.